Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Woodmere Estate Revival. I'm down here doing some cleanup work at the property this evening. This past weekend we spent all day Saturday and most of the day Sunday, way into the evening, working on taking the floors out in the office and the formal living room. And ran into all kinds of bad stuff, rotten floorboards, rotten floor joists, water under the floor, a creek running onto the floor in the living room. All right, it's a small stream, but still, it's running water into a drain box that we didn't know existed in the crawl space. So, I mean, just really crazy stuff going on this weekend. I'm down here late tonight trying to do some cleanup at the property because I've got the contractors coming down early tomorrow morning to take a look at a few things. They're going to be taking a look at the framing, the partition wall in between the living room and the office. And the reason they're doing that is because when we were taking the floor out in the office, we noticed that that wall began to get a little bit loose, began to wobble or rack a little bit from side to side. So on Sunday morning, I was able to come down and actually took some scraps of 2x4 and kind of nailed some stuff together just along the edges of the old floor joist to try to stiffen that up a little bit. But the concern is, let me show you what we're talking about. So here's that partition wall that runs in between the office, which is this hole in the house right now, and the formal living room, which you can see through that doorway over there. And so this partition wall is a bearing wall. And you can see up here, there's the floor joist for the upstairs. So the master bedroom, master bath, and everything are right up there. So my concern is that since we've pulled out the floor joists and the floorboards and the sheeting and the drywall on the partition wall, that the wall itself is getting a little bit unstable. And so the guys are coming in tomorrow morning. They're going to take a look at the wall and try to figure out the best way to brace the flooring. I believe we're going to end up taking a 4x4 and running it across underneath, catching all those floor joists, and then taking some other 4x4 posts and going down to grade down in the crawl space on some blocks down there and carry the weight down to grade there. So what that allows us to do is basically remove that partition wall, because right now we've got issues with rot and insect damage and everything else in that wall. From the floorboards up, it looks good. The studs look good. The top plate looks fine. You know, there really wasn't a whole lot of mold in that wall, you know, behind the wallboard, but from the floor level down is where I found all the rot and insect damage and everything else. So look at it from this side. So you can see there's the block wall in the crawl space, and on top of that you've got your sill plate, and then on top of that you've got your floor joists supporting the floor in the living room. On top of that you've got board sheeting. On top of that there's another plate. On top of that there's a band joist which nails to the ends of the floor joist that support the office. So it's a rather complicated floor structure because of the way this sunken living room was set up. It almost would have been better if they'd used a double block foundation there, one at the level of the living room and one at the level of, you know, the office and the rest of the house. But they didn't, so what we're dealing with is a rather complicated flooring structure. And because of the way it's been compromised, you know, with the wood rot and the water damage, the insect damage, that partition wall is a little bit unstable. So we'll get the guys in here early tomorrow morning. They're going to make a materials list, get out, get some stuff, and be back here and get that upstairs flooring system supported so that we don't have to worry about that. We can take this wall apart and go ahead and you know, begin to frame it back up from the blocks up. They're also going to take a look at this drainage box that I found yesterday. And you can't see it from here, but there's that plastic line that runs over there towards the fireplace, and that drainage box kind of sits down below the corner of the hearth there. So I don't know what the history of that thing is, don't know how long it's been there, but I do know that there's water running into it now from under the crawl space. So they're going to take a look at that and try to get that figured out. Ultimately, we've got some guys that are going to come over and give us an estimate on exposing the foundation behind the house, waterproofing it, installing a French drain, just to get all that water away from the back of the house. That's going to be the ultimate solution. You don't need drains under in the crawl space. You don't need water running in your crawl space. So once we get that foundation waterproofed, get the water picked up before it gets to the foundation and drained away from the house, we'll get that crawl space nice and bone dry, and then we'll come back, clean up, put a new vapor barrier down, encapsulate it, put a dehumidifier down there. Then you've got a climate controlled crawl space, and you're not worried about your wood getting wet. You're not worried about mold, mildew, and everything else because the humidity is too low. So we're gonna make the crawl space climate conditioned and never have to worry about this type of garbage again. So looking forward to having the meeting tomorrow. I'll be sure to circle back with you guys tomorrow and let you know what the outcome was. Get down here and get some footage for you of the bracing that they're going to put in, trying to support that floor structure upstairs. So thanks for tuning in to this brief update on Woodmere Estate Revival. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It's going to be a long project. We got lots of exciting stuff coming. We're almost done with demolition, and we're tickled to death about that. Amber and I both are just wore out because we've been working down here pretty much non-stop, nights and weekends, doing demolition ever since we bought the place. And so we were just wore out. We're ready for a break, and we're excited to start seeing the place put back together. Excited to start seeing the floors get put back in, and then the walls going up, and the addition going on, and everything else that we have planned for this house. So it's going to be a long project. Stick with us. Lots more to come. Take care. Have a good night. Bye-bye.